Babble Live. Oh, Christa beat Rona with the thumbs up. Hey, everybody, it's Lisa Baker and Rona Herman here tonight on Quilt Babble Live. It is our January 2024. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I can't even talk about it. We're almost in February, and today I probably wrote 2023 about 23 times. I'm not there yet, but tonight we have a great group of experts. There is people that's even behind the camera that could pop out anytime. You all know I love Wizard of Oz. Steve is here. He's always the man behind the curtain. But tonight, Bobbi has got like, I don't know, little munchkins running everywhere behind her helping. So
My team.
Yeah.
Whoa. Uh-oh. I think we just lost Lisa.
We did lose Lisa.
We did lose Lisa. I think we're still live though. It still shows that we're still recording.
Yeah, I think we're still good.
You gotta love technology.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I just got a pop-up that said, hey, you're the host now. So, okay. I haven't even finished my sharing stuff. But yeah, so we've got Bobbi here with Arrow Furniture. It's Arrow Furniture Sewing, correct?
It's actually Arrow Sewing.
Just
And
Arrow
we have
Sewing.
two separate lines. We have the Arrow line, which is our flagship product. And then we have the Kangaroo line, which is a step up above that. All the cabinets are under $3,000. And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Awesome. Oh, I think we've got Lisa trying to come back in. I just want to make sure that she made me the host. So I hope there's no like chat room or something that I'm supposed to be putting her in.
Use your power wisely.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I might get drunk with all this power. I don't know. I can't see anything. So anyway, okay. So I'm fascinated with, because I have to be honest, until Lisa told me that she was bringing some of the Arrow furniture into her shop, I had never actually heard of Arrow Sewing. So of course I immediately go to the website and I jump in. And I'm like, I got to check out this furniture. And I knew, Christa, that you had done a cabinet with or a sewing cabinet, but I for some reason had not put the two together that it was with Arrow, even though like I watched all your videos on it when you released it and all that stuff and was like drooling over the cabinet. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about your cabinet that you designed and what's really cool about it.
Okay, well, let me just start off with a little story about how this all came to be. So I have been quilting for, I don't know, 25 years or so. I've always done my own quilts on a domestic machine. I travel the country teaching people, I write books, I do all the things. And the main reason I do it is because I think it's so much fun to sit and make every single part of the quilt from start to finish. And I figure if I'm enjoying it, other people must be too. So way back in the day when I started, and I got my very first Bernina, because I'm a Bernina gal, I got this just kind of old table at a dealer that's like no longer in business. And basically it had the drop in so you could have your machine flush. That's like the number one important feature that you want. And I used this table for like 20 years. And then recently, it's only been the last couple of years that I started doing YouTube videos, and I started, of course, everybody's getting on the video bandwagon. And so what I was noticing, and then of course, social media and all that, everybody, they would love what I was teaching and sharing on social media, but every time you'd see my machine and my little rickety table setup that I'd had for 20 years, and I'd kind of hacked it all together and stuff to get it exactly what I wanted it to be, everybody would say, tell me about your sewing setup. Where did you get your table? And the thing of it is I don't remember the brand. I don't remember I don't remember anything. And it was just kind of on its last legs, but it did the job. So then I set about and I thought, you know what? I'm getting so many people asking me about this. What I need to do, because I was starting to become an influencer and all that kind of stuff and put my name on, different products throughout their quilting industry. I thought I need to partner up with a company that makes furniture, so that not for my own glory, so that I can refer to people, so that when I have 100 people asking me on a video, where'd you get the table? I could just say, oh, I got it from ABC company. Here it is, no endorsement, no like money or nothing. I wasn't looking to monetize it in any way. I just wanted to have a service. So I started contacting the different companies. I started doing research and things like that, looking for the perfect table. And the crazy thing is it wasn't out there. basically what you need a couple things, and I think Bobbi will kind of do a little show and
I
tell
was just-
later.
Can I interrupt 1 second? Because
Yeah.
as y'all know, I got kicked off. Did we do an introduction of who we have with us? Because I missed that.
I don't think we did. I'm the type that I
Okay,
just start
let's-
talking, so let's do
Yeah,
that.
let's back up a second. Let's back up a second, just because I want everybody to know who you guys are and why you're on this particular episode. And Rona, I am so sorry that I disappeared on you, but you
That's
know
okay.
that's how things happen. So,
You did great.
Christa, if you could just tell everybody your name, once again, what you do and how they can find you, because you know all of our viewers they want to know more about you when they get off of here. So, how can they locate you? Who are you? And where do you live, and is it snowing and all that good stuff?
Oh, sure. So I am Christa Watson, and first thing to know is I talk 1,000,000 miles a minute. So you can like watch this on half speed later and it'll be awesome, but then it'll be twice as long. Anyhow, so or half, who knows? So what I do is I teach people how to quilt on a domestic machine because that is my #1 love. And I currently live in Las Vegas, where we don't really, we get snow like once every 5 years, you know, and we have mountains and things like that. But a cold day in Las Vegas is when I have to put on socks. So there you go. But I travel the country and I teach people, and I design fabric, and I write books, and I do patterns, and I'm just all over everywhere at Christa Quilts with a Christa, Christa Quilts. You can find me everywhere. And even if you spell my name wrong, I own those too, because I know people get my name wrong. But I love quilting. I love quilters. This is my full-time job, and it's just the best job in the world. And being with you guys and hanging out with everybody, I mean, I do this all day long.
Bobbi, I mean, not Bobbi, but Christa, I think you need to show a little more pizzazz for the quilt industry.
Right?
I love it. I love it. And I talk fast too. So I'm right there with you. Our speeds are right point on.
I can do
Miss
like jazz
Bobbi,
hands.
yeah, I
jazz
know,
hands.
right? Miss Bobbi over here in this beautiful setup studio that you got going on. Tell everybody who you are and how one can find you. And if you want to talk about your little munchkins that's in your corner, please do.
I will. I'm Bobbi Jakic, and I'm with Arrow Sewing. I'm Lisa's East Coast account manager, working on quite a head cold today, so bear with me, everybody. Wanted to be here with these ladies today. Know Christa from the past. She is one of our ambassadors. We do have the Christa cabinet here today. We'll go over a few things with that. A couple of things you need to know about Arrow Sewing. Arrow Sewing has been around for 80 years. It's not going anywhere. We are the #1 distributor of sewing furniture in America. We have the #1 rated sewing chair in America for ergonomics and lumbar support to help you to sew in comfort to sew longer.
Love it. And that is it in a nutshell for tonight, guys. That last year at this time, Rona and I did a couple of episodes on organizing your sewing room, decluttering, get your sewing life in order in regards to your fabrics, your threads, your everything. And we kind of got threw under the bus last year because Steve was like, oh, y'all should take the cleanup challenge too. Rona had it better than me because she was in a blank house. She had just moved. And so her stuff was already had kind of been gone through when she packed it up. And then, you know, obviously she could unpack and put where she want. Me, I had to start with my mess and make it better. So Rona and I thought it would be super great tonight to really get into the sewing studio in regards to the furniture and why the proper furniture makes a difference in your sewing life. So Christa, I love when Rona asked you about your table right at the beginning of when I popped back in, because that is exactly what we're talking about tonight, making that difference in your sewing life. And I think between you and Bobbi, you're going to give us great information. But Christa, I want to save you for just a little bit later because there is a story that I want to talk about, one of your products that you added onto your table. Bobbi, what do you think about starting with the chair? You know, it's a simple piece in regards to, we all probably start out at the kitchen table. Before we went online, Rona jumped up and showed that she was bragging that she's got one of these chairs.
Let's see it, Rona. Herman.
The chair. You can only see the top though, but it's one of those.
That's our
So-
sewing notions chair.
Yeah,
So,
so Bobbi, tell us why you're why Arrow's got the #1 sewing chair and why we need a good chair.
Absolutely. So real quick, ladies, we have several patterns and several solids. The solids are a tougher fabric, kind of a tweedy fabric. They sit a little firmer. These prints are a cotton fabric, so they sit a little softer. The best thing to do is get yourself into one of these chairs. First and foremost, ergonomics, as we're talking today, lumbar support. So lumbar support, the chair hits you right where it needs to be in your lumbar support so that when you're sewing, you can sit tall, create muscle memory. You don't have to lean down at that needle any longer. The machines do the work for you nowadays. So this creates a long, tall lumbar. We also have flat bottom sewing. This actually helps with circulation from your hips down. Our chair is a little shorter here, so it doesn't hit you in the back of the leg. That all
Right.
promotes circulation while sitting for hours in this chair. We kept Grandma's piano style bench. She used to keep her simplicity patterns in here.
I was thinking M&M's, Bobbi.
This is our buttons. Oh yeah, your chocolates can go in here for sure. For sure, anything, any vice, ladies.
I do want to say, so the seat of that chair, I really like it because it is the flat bottom and it's got the long flat front. Because when I sit, I use this chair at my sewing table, I use it here at my laptop, and especially when I'm really concentrating on something, I tend to sit at the very front of my chair. And so that it's really like just my behind is on the chair. Everything else is, it forces me to sit up straight. But this chair with the way it's designed, it really, it helps so much on my lower back, whether I'm sitting at the front or sitting all the way back on it. I love this chair.
Yeah, as a nurse, as soon as Bobbi, you just pointed out about how the front is made and it's not bumping up against your knee, underneath your knee. The nurse in me was like, absolutely, because you don't want any pressure on those nerves.
Or those veins.
Blood,
As you're leaning-
the blood flow, anything. So that is fabulous.
As you're leaning forward sewing, it is all actually engineered for you guys. This is a sewing chair for a sewist. That's most important, you guys. This chair creates comfort, so sewn comfort to sew longer. After 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, 6 hours sitting in this chair, you're not going to get up and walk away all crumpled. You don't have to straighten yourself up first before you can go about making dinner or whatever you have to do.
Exactly.
I love this chair. It comes in 5 prints and 6 solids. We do have a shot on the screen for you.
Nice.
I have the tweed in the gray. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the one that I have and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's like a men's jacket. That actually reminds me of Dad's jacket for church on Sundays.
Nice.
In the winter. It's a great little tweed gray.
Yeah, these are fabulous. And I don't know if anybody really paid attention, but Bobbi was swirling that around 360.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Easier to see with it open.
Mm-hmm.
I like having the swivel and the on rollers, because especially depending on how you have your sewing room set up, whether you have, just like me right now, I just have one long 10-foot table that I have my sewing machine and then my cutting and pressing area that, not my full, but my little mini area, so I can easily slide back and forth rather than like getting up and going over to another. But even if you have, like, if you're at the dining room table or something like that, you can easily slide around, and it helps me anyway with totally lost my train of thought. I really hate when that
It
That's
helps
okay.
you.
I'll fill
It
in
helps
for
you.
you.
I remember. So if you have, I've seen a lot of people in their sewing room where they have like their sewing machine right here, and then kind of like an L shape where you have like your mini craft iron or something here, your pressing mat, that sort of thing. And that having that nice swivel really helps your back like immensely without having to kind of turn in your chair and all that stuff.
It's preventing you from you swirling your back, you're swirling the chair instead of twisting your back for sure.
Ladies, we
Bobbi,
also have a lever here. It is a hydraulic chair. Does go up fairly high. So you can position yourself correctly at your cabinet.
Bobbi, I was gonna say, you know how everybody has that family recipe and there's the secret ingredient and no one in the family can have it or they kill you kind of thing. It's a secret
Right.
ingredient. I will say that everybody sits in these chairs. They do not believe that one chair basically fits, everybody. And I'm like, sit in it. And here at SewEndipitious, we are new to the Arrow family. I am totally in love with you guys. We do have our grand opening this Saturday. But we've had the furniture and the chairs since right around Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So we've been playing with them for just a little bit. But it's so funny. They come in doubters. They're like, it's not a one size fit all, but it is. And then they sit down and they're like, wait a minute, how's it fitting me and fitting Sally? And she's this tall and, this wide, or I'm this short and this petite. And I tell them it's a secret sauce. So.
Well, and
Well,
you
that's
guys,
where your ergonomics comes in, Lisa.
you
these
guys don't
chairs
know
have been
this.
Engineered to fit your lumbar, and lumbars are all made the same.
This is true. This is true. Go ahead,
So-
Christa.
I was gonna say, because I've met Bobbi, but I haven't met everybody in person. I'm very short. I'm 5 feet tall. I am 5 feet tall. People do not realize when they meet me in person how short I am. And I'm like, the table works great. The chair works great. I mean, that chair is so nice because on normal chairs, my feet dangle. But on the Arrow chair, because I can raise it up and down depending on what I'm doing, it just fits me. So yeah, and it fits my friend who's also 6 feet tall. So it's just
And
like
I'm
you said, it's that
5'10",
secret
so
sauce.
it does fit everybody the same. We
Yeah.
are all
And-
created the same in
Mhm.
this much of our back, and that's
This
where
is
the
true.
engineering comes from.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's so important to have the right chair at the right height for you. Because I remember one guild meeting that we had, these lovely ladies they were physical therapists, and they were explaining how, I do it. I try to notice when I'm doing it, but when you're sitting at the machine and you're concentrating on what you're doing, whether it's piecing or you're actually doing the free motion quilting, our shoulders tend to go up like this and you tend to get tense. And having the right height for your chair can actually help force your shoulders down so that and same thing with your eye level to seeing what you're doing. That helps with your neck problems, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, finding that right height and having an adjustable chair is very, very good for your neck and your shoulders.
There's a reason they're the #1 sewing chair in America. You have to sit in one. Ladies and gentlemen, sit in the chair.
Exactly. So with that being said, the chair is something that would fit anyone's sewing life. Whether you are someone that you have been sewing at the kitchen table, or you have a nice little room that's devoted to nothing but sewing, like Christa has with her amazing little rainbow fabric up on her wall. But this comes to creating the perfect sewing space for you, and everybody has a different amount of space. Like I said, there is some men and women that sew, and I know they have to bring their sewing machine out and they're at the kitchen table and then they have to put it up when they're done. So no matter where your space is, the chair is going to help you. So that's #1. But let's talk about if you do have a space that you can bring a proper sewing cabinet or table in. And I want to tell a little story, and then we're going to pop back to you, Christa. So you and Bobbi can talk about this cabinet that you worked with designing. So Rona and I have a friend called Tracy Perks. She is with Rope and Anchor Trading Design. She lives in the trading company. Thank you. She lives in the UK and she lives on a boat. How fabulous is this? And so she's always doing these videos because she's a pattern designer and a teacher and all this stuff. Anyway, this past week, and Rona, if I'm leaving something out of the story, please chime in. But this past week, her and one of her family members went on a quilt retreat so they could get down and dirty and spend a week just sewing some of her new patterns so they have samples and that kind of thing. So she was telling us that she's in this big, huge space on these big, huge tables, and her feng shui was off because she's used to this little small space on this little, I think is it a sailboat, Rona?
It's not a sailboat, so it's
Narrow
one of
boat.
the old one. Yeah, they're called narrow boats, and in the UK on the canals there, they were the old working boats that people would use to transport real heavy like oars and different things like that, like coal and all that
Right.
up and down the canals. So they're think long and narrow, but
Narrow.
hers is narrow and about half the length of a full-size one. So it's quite a bit. In fact, she'll be on my YouTube show, and we'll be showing you exactly what her little boat looks like in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's
So with that being said, Christa, where her sewing machine is right up on the wall, looking out a window on this little narrow boat. So when she does her free motion quilting on her domestic machine, she doesn't have that much space. So this past week when she was at this cottage, she had these big tables, and her quilt could do its own thing as it was going through the sewing machine. And it was passing into this big space, and then of course sliding off the back. Anyway, she says my quilting was totally off, and we giggled because she was used to this little small space. So I brought you up and some of the features you have. So you and Bobbi play back and forth in regards to talking about some of these things, but you can understand her sewing space issue that she was having now that it was changed.
Absolutely. Well, I'll finish kind of telling the little story of how I got hooked up with Arrow, because it's just a match made in heaven. So I was making these YouTube videos and had this kind of like wonky, janky setup that worked for me with the drop in and the space and everything. And so people were asking where to get the table. So I thought, okay, if I can just, meet people in the industry and just find a company that I could refer them to, like totally fine. Maybe they would send me a table to use in my videos, whatever, that's totally fine. So as I started researching, I found two problems. Number one, the main problem is that what I wanted, which we'll get into the specifics when, she can show you, Bobbi can show you that in her beautiful setup with good lighting. So, so I could not find a table with all the features that I wanted. That was the first issue. The second issue is that as I was looking at the pricing, I mean, some of these tables were more expensive than your car, your sewing machine. I mean, and that's fine. There's a market for that. But that's not my market. My market is affordability. And my followers that watch my YouTube videos, they've got budgets and stuff to work with. And so that didn't work. And then kind of the third thing I found out, I know a lot of people in the quilting industry. It's an amazing place. What I found out is that there were other influencers that were promoting different tables and furniture, and which it's nice to be able to have nice sewing furniture. But I realized that specifically no one was promoting anything specifically for domestic machine quilting, because of course people say, oh, if you're going to quilt or do professionally, you just get a long arm. Well, I don't long arm quilt. I just do domestic. And so they would have all these amazing, like big name people talking about all this beautiful furniture from these companies, but I realized none of them actually quilted their own quilts. So the tables and furniture were beautiful for piecing, but again, nobody had thought through what you need for domestic machine quilting, at least the way I do it. And so as luck would have it, we had some mutual friends in the industry that introduced me to Arrow. And I said, okay, I know you guys don't know me. I'm looking at your furniture. I like it. And even them, every company I talk to, I say, but you don't have what you need for domestic machine quilters. And they're like, well, what do we need? So I spent the next few weeks taking pictures, drawing diagrams, coming up with all these like schematics. I'm not an engineer. And I told them, I said, this is what I need. And them being engineers, they're like, oh, we can do that. No problem. So basically what they did is they were able to take an existing cabinet, modify it with my specifications, which aren't really, it's not really that much. And then they were able to make the table. And as we were talking through this, because just how it works out with their Arrow line, a lot of them are named, they're named after first names. And they're like, well, not only will we build this table for you, we'll name it after you. And you could have just knocked me over with a feather. I was like, this is amazing. And then the little golden cherry on top was that, so we got the table, whatever. Then we're going to talk about the little quilt bumpers, catchers, quilt blocks. so basically I had the table, we were working, it was great. And I said, okay, there's one other thing that we really need to do. I know this is like a pipe dream, but I've not seen this anywhere. The problem is when you're doing all that space and you're quilting, if you are quilting and your quilt is bigger than your table, it's going to fall off the edges. It's going to fall
Yeah.
off the back or the side unless you're shoved up into a corner, and your quilt's going to fall off. And because the way my sewing setup is happening, we moved into this house a few years ago, like right before I got in with Arrow. Before then, I was shoved up into a corner, but the way my sewing machine is, my table is in the middle of the room, and so my quilt was falling off all over the place. And I said, can't we add something to the table that blocks it and keeps it from falling off? And so originally my idea was it would just be some little piece that was like welded in or nailed in. And of course, the people at Arrow, the beautiful engineers and brilliant people they are, they said, no, it needs to be a separate piece, which again, she'll show you in a minute. It needs to be a separate piece so that you can put it wherever you want to on the table. And brilliant marketing. And they're like, and if it's separate, you can add this bumper to any other table out there. And so it just
Yes.
blows me away. People that already have tables, but they just needed the little area to kind of corral the quilt together. So anyway, it just was wonderful. I think it came out less than 2 years ago. There was a big industry trade show in Las Vegas where I live. Arrow was there. I was there. We
Fabulous.
introduced it to the world, and it's literally changed my quilting life and everybody else too. So that's the story. And like you just got to know them. I did not know them from anybody, and we connected. I just like, these are good people. These are my people. They want what's best for the consumer. They've been a joy and a dream to work with. And I just, it's everything I wanted and more.
Absolutely.
for-
Go ahead,
the
Bobbi,
quilt-
take it over.
So the quilt catchers do come 2 to a box. So you have one for the left side of the table and one for the back. And as I showed you earlier, it does catch the quilts as you are sewing and pushing material to the corner.
Love it.
It is catching that, not falling off the back, the side. These are fairly inexpensive, Lisa. And if you'd like to do a special on Saturday, let's talk about that. And you can just blow these out to all
All
your
about
people.
it.
And I actually have
all about it.
2 sets. So what I did is, so I got my first set and I put them along the back, and then I put 2 on the side. So if you have 1 set, you could do like what Bobbi shows you where you put them in the corner. But if you do
Sure.
want full coverage, you can get 2 sets of the blocks. They come 2 each, and you can put 2 on the side, on the back, and then 2 on the left side. And it's just the fact that you can move them wherever you want to, or put them on any other table, is just amazing.
I will say, I see you, Rona. I'm sorry. I think as new quilters, if they're watching this, they may not understand the importance of the word that Bobbi was saying, corralling that quilt. I do not do a lot of free motion quilting because I don't have the time to practice and mine sucks. But Rona, do you do some of your own quilting?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. I actually, I used to do my own quilting. I don't have as much time to do my own free motion anymore, so I do usually send it out to my long armor. But for those that are new to domestic quilting, domestic machine quilting, the importance of not letting the quilt drape over the side is because it's extra weight that starts pulling on the needle in your machine. So you're not getting the even stitches as you would if where the weight is all supported on the table. And so that's why it was really a genius idea to come up with those bumpers. What are they called? The Christa blocks or the Christa catchers?
quilt blocks?
Yeah,
or
and
quilt
it really
catchers.
is a genius idea. My table has always been up against the wall. But yeah, they're an awesome idea to have that, and really, really a big help with that weight, especially when you're doing a king size quilt. Ooh.
And Arrow was really great because what they did when we first came out, they made them so that they would fit the width of the Christa cabinet, and then they realized people had cabinets that were thicker, so they made bigger clamps. And so I believe, Bobbi, you can check me on this, I believe that they will fit on any table that's 1 inch thick or less, as long as it has a little lip, because it's just like a clamp. It's just clamps onto there and you screw it in. She can probably give us a little demo, and they just work beautifully. And like I said, people are buying them now. People that have already had a table and they're happy with their setup, they're buying just the catchers. I think we called them the blocks, but I think we're going under a new name. So the
Catchers.
item formerly known as quilt blocks is now being called, I think we're calling them Christa's quilt catchers, because that's kind of catchy. But they catch your quilt. And
Tells a
like
story.
Rona said, when you don't have, you know, the main thing that makes you not have pretty stitches when you're free motion quilting, or even doing walking for quilting for that matter, is that when your quilt gets bunched up or it can't glide smoothly under the machine.
Yeah.
And so the table helps it glide smoothly. The drop-in allows it to do that. But then again, then you have the weight of the friction of the quilt. It's either going to fall off the back or it's going to fall in your lap. And so if you can kind of just scrunch it up and just manipulate the quilt and move it. Like I literally, about 2 weeks ago, I just finished quilting a king size quilt, and I do YouTube videos all the time, and I show, and people are just blown away because I actually show, this is what it looks like. You know, it's one thing to have a little tiny sample, but when you're
Yeah.
actually seeing a video
Yeah.
of me quilting a king size quilt, people are like, I didn't know you could do that. And I'm like, you absolutely can. And it's all having the right sewing setup that makes the difference.
Bobbi, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I see you walking away, but go back there one more time so they can see how that clamp is and verify
It
what.
does fit every table,
Okay,
all
thank you.
tables.
Can I interrupt just one moment?
Sure.
That is Steve, the man behind the curtain. Go ahead, Mr. Oz.
I just want to let users know, if they're not very familiar with Zoom, that I think in the upper right-hand corner, there is a view icon, and you can change the size of what you're viewing during this presentation. Because I know some of the things that Bobbi is showing, if you are looking at the 4 squares of all the speakers, you may not be able to see it well on a laptop.
They don't have that ability because they're not on Zoom. They're on
Yeah,
Facebook
they're on
Live.
Facebook. Yeah. So it's
Thank you
on-
very
yeah.
much.
Yeah, on Facebook, they're seeing all 4. So they should be getting everything. If not, we can have, it'll be replay too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Steve, everything is on
now it just
arrowsewing.com.
I just did
Thank
it.
you. Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Bobbi.
So yeah, just 2 screws underneath. Basically, you're going to put this clamp on top of your table and just tighten the screws down. Like I said, it fits any table, any width. And Christa is correct. It only fit her table for quite some time. And we did take the time to make sure that it fits for all tables because they're a fantastic tool to use.
So one of the things, terminology that Christa used, that once again, we try to make sure our people that are new to quilting can pick up on the lingo. She mentioned the flatbed, which is one of the positions that these cabinets allow. Bobbi, talk about the positionings of the cabinets and the sewing machines a little bit for those that don't understand why you would need flatbed for some type of sewing method versus another.
Sure, we're going to come over to this cabinet here. When Christa mentioned there was a cabinet similar to hers that we were going to use as a demo for her, this is it. This is the Kangaroo and Joey. So the platform here has 3 positions. You have a sewing position, which is the flatbed position. You're going to want to order an insert so that you can have a flat surface to sew on. Again, this all goes back to your ergonomics to sew in comfort. You have a storage position. There's a panel that covers this so that you can do other crafts or cutting or pressing if you have a mat. We do have a panel for that. So storage position. Free arm position for embroidery.
Love
And
it.
then, of course, you go back to your sewing position, which is flatbed.
And I'm not going to hold it against you, Bobbi, that you got a Janome there, not a Husqvarna Viking. I'm just
We
saying.
talked about this, Lisa.
I always tell everybody, if you have a different machine than me, that's okay. You're still my friend. It's still the same technique.
You know what I say, Christa? I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, I haven't met a bad machine. As long as it sews when I want to sew, I'm happy. Am I favored to Husqvarna Viking? And do we sell Husqvarna Viking? Absolutely. But as a sewer, you just want to sew. So
That's right.
as long as it works, if the electricity's out, I'm on the treadle. So it's all good.
So
You know,
one
a few
thing
other things that are important with regards to these platforms and sewing position, the height of the cabinet. The height of the cabinet should be 29.5 to 31.5. for appropriate sewing position.
Good thing to point out. And Bobbi, I was really making fun of the Janome, really to point out the fact that that custom insert that you were talking about,
Yes.
that allows no matter what brand of machine, correct, that they own.
Right. You can have that cut to any machine. Basically, this is an A7, which it doesn't matter to your people out there, but fills this entire hole. And then this is cut to your machine. So no pins fall through, no material falls through, no quilts fall through. It is all one stable and secure platform for you to sew on.
Absolutely. Christa, so once again, I don't do the big free motion like you're talking about and that kind of stuff, but did you ever have a point in your life that you were trying to do that with your sewing machine on top of a inappropriate table that allowed you flat bed?
Yes.
And the difference?
It does make a difference. And the main thing is because you really, when you're quilting, you want the area around your hands to be nice and flat. Everything else can be scrunched around, but you've got to have the room to move it. Now, I know people might say, oh, well, if I don't have, room for a table, I have quilted in a travel trailer before on a little, table that folds out. And she, Rona, you can do it anywhere, but it's like anything. The more bells and whistles you have, the easier it is. Now, what I would love to do is maybe kind of talk about a couple other things that I really love about the Christa cabinet that, and so then she can kind of go through it. So I'll tell it first and then she can kind of demo. So
Perfect.
Two things. Number one is I always describe it as an L shape. So you've got the area where you've got the sewing machine. That's kind of the bottom of the L, or think of it as like a backward 7. Then that area to your left in both of those cabinets that she's showing there, you need to have an area right there to your left so that when you're sitting down where that cabinet, where that drawer is, now that drawer has storage and you can lift off the top of it and put it away. I just leave it out like that the whole time. So the reason you want that is so that that's where the bulk of the quilt is actually going to go. So you can use the storage, you can close that drawer, but I keep the drawer open all the time with that little piece on top of it. And that little thing right there, before I had that, I used an ironing board or a TV tray or a chair, something to give me this kind of upside down L or this like backward 7, because that's where the bulk of the quilt's going to go. And what's really nice about this particular table, when I was figuring everything out and measuring, a lot of the tables out there in the market are actually too big. I don't remember the exact dimensions. This one is the perfect size, because when you're sitting down, you're right in front of your machine where you need to be, and you can put you can rest your arm right there on that area where the quilt is. And so maybe she can kind of demonstrate, or she can kind of show when you're sitting there, it's a very, very comfortable position. You're going to put your face right there next to the machine. Your arm is going to rest there and you're right there. You're like snuggled in, and it's such a comfortable position. The third thing that I want to talk about, so there's the quilt blocks. Actually, there's 4 things: the quilt blocks, the drop-in, the extension bed that makes that little L. And then there's a little piece off to the right-hand side that right now is folded down, and she's going to fold it up. This thing right here, it has a little thing that props open. That just gives you a little bit more room to put your scissors and your water bottle and your extra threads and your extra bobbins, because on the old table I had, it only had like 2 or 3 inches of space and stuff kept falling off. And so just having that little table there, it's just to put your stuff on so that it's easy at hand. Because the one thing about this table is I wanted it to be affordable. So there's not as many of the bells and whistles. There's not a whole lot of storage. It just has a simple lever that allows it to go up and down. All of that stuff keeps it in the price point that I wanted, but it basically has everything you need and nothing you don't. And so for me, they wanted to name it the Christa before they came up with that. I said, we just need to call this the perfect sewing table or the perfect domestic machine quilting table, because it really, really is. And so as she has it now with everything, all the flaps up, that's how I put it in my room. But you can fold down the back, you can push the drawer in, you can fold down the side if you want to have a smaller footprint for storage.
It's got a lot of real estate here for everything you need to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you pointed out something really good, Christa. This is a great little table for, the perfect space to do all the things you want. And you brought up that you particular for your room, you do not need a lot of storage, because I noticed in the back of your room, you've got this whole amazing wall of storage. But Bobbi, if you could, or Scott or Ethan, whoever's working the camera, if you could flip over to the Kangaroo and Joy, because I will tell you the storage on that cabinet, the Joy itself is something that someone like myself, so I live in a historical home where there is no closets, there is no storage. I love that Arrow came up with this particular cabinet for those like me that needs the storage.
And you know
Lisa,
what's
this
nice?
has all soft close drawers also. And it
And
is
that-
fully lockable. And again, just like the Christa table, this Kangaroo Joey has all that real estate. It has the panel on top of the drawer. It has the right-hand side TV tray or kick up, just like this one does.
Mhm.
And the quilt panel on the back that does fold down.
And that
And-
beautiful teak color, I was gonna say, the quilt catchers, they come in 3 colors. They come in white and gray and teak. So if you wanted to get the teak cabinet, you could get the quilt catchers that would match.
I was getting ready to ask that, Christa, if those came in different colors as well, since I knew the other cabinets came in the different colors. So that is definitely fabulous. And then in the shot, when you were showing that Kangaroo and Joy, I would be hating myself for the viewers if you did not. I think I seen a sneak peek of the kiwi back there. Is that
You did.
is that what's hiding? So
That is what's hiding back here.
earlier, Bobbi had mentioned, Lisa, Saturday maybe run such and such on special. So like I said, I have just become an Arrow dealer here at SewEndipitious in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Saturday is our grand opening for our Arrow and Kangaroo furniture. And if I'm not mistaken, the kiwi is something that's going to add a little spice to the mix on Saturday. Bobbi, you don't have to move it. If you'll just talk about the kiwi, I see everything's locked in for you.
We're getting there, Lisa. Can you guys see that? It's such a great little piece. So your
Yes,
top drawers have thread storage that is removable,
Oh, well.
all soft close drawers. And then your center drawers for notions. And then 2 irons fit in the bottom drawer. It's that deep.
nice.
Comes with the pressing pad and the cutting pad. So all your quick presses, all your quick cuts, this can be positioned anywhere you'd like it to be. It is on rollers.
I
Love
have
it.
one and I like it because I can move it around. I can move it all around my sewing machine. It's great.
Yeah, Krista, I think that with your cabinet, it's almost like you can create yourself a little U shape and just be a happy little camper. And if you've got the chair, like you all said earlier, you can just sew for hours.
Absolutely.
Scott made a comment and said, can we have multiple drop-ins for the same cabinet? I know the answer, but Bobbi, I'll let you answer that.
Absolutely. If you have more than one machine, you can have inserts made to cut to your cabinet and to your machine, as many as you'd like.
Absolutely. So we talked about the positioning of the sewing machine, whether it's in flatbed or free arm. I know some of the cabinets have hydraulic and others have electric, right?
Yep. So we have cabinets that come in an electric lift. The one we showed you today is a manual lift, which is a hydraulic lift. The electric lift is on our Sydney, top of the line,
Oh,
again,
gotcha.
under $3,000. Has real estate. I don't have one in here, you guys. I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right. They can come to Rock Hill and see it. I got one.
And they are available. You can take a look at them at arrowsewing.com. Again, anything we talk about today is out there.
I love it. I love it.
So the electric lift is also a 3-position lift. You have a stopping point at the sewing height. You have a storage, and then you also have that free arm.
Absolutely. Now, I know you don't have it on your little showroom floor right now, Bobbi, but I want to say I've seen in the literature that you sent me a really cool cabinet that the featherweights fit in. It's like a travel
Yeah,
cabinet
so
or
we have the
something?
Gidget.
The Gidget.
And we have several different kinds of the Gidget, not several, a few. We have the Gidget for retreats that has wheels. And then we have the Gidget that is a featherweight that's black that matches with the gold accents to it. And then we
Yeah,
also have the Gidget for smaller machines that doesn't have any wheels, that's stationary. You know, you would use it as just a second position to sew at.
absolute. Sue asked if there's any tables that are special for sergers.
We do have one of those sitting right here. So I have the Eleanor here, Lisa. Let me just get that out for you.
Your team is so quick. Look at them throw the picture up. Okay, that's fabulous. Is that manual or electrical up and down? It looks like on the right
It
hand
is
side. there's
electrical
black
and it
buttons.
goes up and down.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So here we have one here. I've got the cord hanging in the front. It has a cutout for sergers or smaller machines. It does raise up to about here. I'm sorry, Scott or Ethan, the height that it raises up to, the Eleanor, 48, 48 and goes down to 28.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so this is a great table.
Sue, that was a great question because I would have never even thought if there was a special table for a serger. So
So-
does that mean they're doing an insert?
Yeah, there's an
the
insert that can go on this too. And
Okay.
Lisa, this cabinet is on promo this month, so we'll have great pricing on this thing too for you for Saturday.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mary Ellen says, does the Kiwi come assembled? This was a great question. We were heading into deliveries and assembly. Talk about that a little bit, Bobbi.
So the Kiwi does not come assembled, only because we're trying to keep the price down so that you guys can, you know, purchase that at an affordable price. It does come RTA, takes about 55 minutes, so let's call that an hour. Takes about an hour to assemble, and just take your time at it. It's not hard. It just takes an hour.
And she used RTA, that means ready to assemble, correct?
Yes,
Bobbi?
that is right.
When mine arrived, my 20-year-old son, who's not very handy, he was able to put it together in about an hour and a half, and it's perfect.
We're not gonna tell him you said that. He's not very handy, Chris.
He's an artist, and he's more with his hands, but not the manual labor stuff. But I was like, okay, you're home from college. I got a job for you.
I got it. I love it. Nancy McNally said, would the Eleanor table be good for and I can never pronounce this, Sashiko
Sashiko.
machine?
Sashiko.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Sashiko machine?
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
Oh.
or Sashiko. I don't know if it's Sashiko or Sashiko.
I
That's
say,
like
I say Sashiko, but I'm a
Yeah.
hillbilly.
I think a Sashiko is kind of the same footprint as a regular sewing machine. It does a very specific where it looks like it's hand stitching, and it only performs one function. So it doesn't have all
Okay.
the free motion stuff, but I think it's the same footprint as just a regular sewing machine.
Yeah, so the Eleanor will fit approximately 85% of machines in it, and all but 2 sergers. So it really is functional. We can go ahead and get you guys some information on this, Lisa.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I will say it's funny Nancy's asking about that because I know for a fact at Quilt Market in Houston, I think Nancy got the Sydney. So she must be loving her Sydney if she's already inquiring about another table for one of her other machines, definitely.
Oh, the Sydney is fantastic, you guys. Take a look at it online. It's our newest cabinet. It comes in hydraulic or electric. It's got a ton of real estate on top of it. Has storage for embroidery arms right inside the cabinet. The drawers lock and the door closes and locks. It's a fully lockable cabinet.
And for those of you that have some of the bigger machines, I know the Epic 3 that just came out for Husqvarna, which if I remember correctly is like the longest or biggest machine right now. It fits in the Sydney nicely.
Perfect.
So, Bobbi, let's go back to the assembled or not assembled and talk about that a little bit. And if someone does go into their local dealer or versus even if they go onto the website and order, talk about some of that real quick.
Yeah, so we always want our customers and your customers to go into a dealer. The dealer gets to know our furniture, they're educated, they'll help you pick the right cabinet that fits your machine. So in other words, if you have a super large machine, say, help me out here, Lisa, what's your biggest machine?
It's the Epic 3.
Oh yeah, that Epic 3. So that's going to go in the Sydney because that has the great big opening and will not fit into this Kangaroo Joey or into the Christa at this point in time. So
Right.
it's very important to work with someone who knows your machine, who knows the cabinets to get you into the right fit. You need storage, you don't want storage, you need, you know, real estate on top. There's all kinds of benefits to working with a dealer. So we're always going to say work with your dealer first. When it comes to shipping unassembled or assembled, we have a fantastic program with FedEx, which is a premium FedEx program. 2 uniformed FedEx servicemen show up with your cabinet already assembled, bring it into the home, up or down a flight of stairs, to the room of your choice. They unpack it and take all the refuse away. That's for $3.99. There is a sale on it right now for $3.99. Fantastic. Then we also have, you can go ahead and get any cabinet shipped to you unassembled and save 90% of that $3.99. And you would work with Lisa on that, but shipping would be super cheap to your home. You just have to take the time to assemble this cabinet. None of them are hard. We have videos out there for assembly for all of them. We have a fantastic customer service department. All those numbers are right on the boxes for you. They will sit there and actually help you assemble your cabinet if you get stuck, if you don't understand something. We've rewritten all of our instructions. We've taken out pieces and parts to make it less. So you're not sitting there with 10,000 parts. So it is actually been thought about to get that to you. Sometimes people have a staircase in an older home that they can't get an assembled cabinet at. Does that mean they can't have a cabinet? No, that does not mean that. Let's think about how we can get you into that cabinet.
I can't believe we are almost within our 60 minutes, but there's a couple things I want to say before we do leave. I cannot believe this. One, that $3.99, let's just say for the cabinets that is an option on, because I do know that you said some cabinets do not come assembled. That's not an option. But the fact that you can on some of them pay the $3.99, they are going to bring it to the room of your choice. They're going to take all the packaging off of it. As soon as they walk out the door, you can literally start putting all your stuff in your cabinet and be sewing within 30 minutes, which is fabulous. The other thing I want to point out is, Bobbi, on the left-hand side of your room, you've got this fabric cabinet. We do have one in the shop, but some people probably like Christa and Rona that do this for a living. They probably have quite a bit of fabric that they work with other fabric companies. So I'm assuming that cabinet can be sold not just to quilt shops, but also to the home user.
You can, absolutely. They do come unassembled.
Oh, can't hear you, Bobbi.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so they do come unassembled. You would have to assemble this. Super easy though, because it's 2 sides and a couple shelves. We have the 3 shelf, and then we have a 4 shelf that has slat walls on the side. So you can go to any hardware store and grab those little hooks that fit in there, and now you've got storage on the sides also. Those are available through your dealer only. You can purchase those through Lisa. And then we also have a machine display that's out there that is fantastic. It has a shelf across the top with lighting underneath it and 2 positions to sit at. So if you have more than 1 machine, you can utilize this machine display to house all of your machines and have 2 sewing positions. That's on the website.
One of the other things,
arrowsewing.com.
Yep. One of the other things we didn't get to talk about, and like I said, we're running out of time. I hate it. We didn't talk about cutting tables.
The kookaburra, my favorite table.
My favorite too. I drooled over it at market. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to have this in my life. But I don't know if your group has a picture of the cutting tables they might want to throw up, but tell us some of the features real quick about the Kookaburra.
So the Kookaburra is our #1 selling cutting table. It is 72 inches long by 48 inches wide. It does have wing walls, which means that those panels that are supporting the sides, thank you. It is actually the handle, so it's super easy to use. We do have mats available. There's the wing walls I was talking about.
Yep.
You know, there's magnets under there to catch them for stability. There's drawers on the front, soft close again. Everything we have is soft close. There's shelves on the back. On the back, you can store batting and tubes. You can store any of the fabric on bolts. So it's super, super friendly, usable. It's about 36 inches tall. The center of the cabinet has all metal casters, and the wing walls have the plastic wrapped casters, so not to catch threads. Just a fantastic piece of furniture. Shelves on the back, like I said. It does, I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry, guys. It
That's
does
right.
come
It's
in
beautiful.
white, teak, and gray.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love, love, love. Rona, where was all of these last year when we were doing our reset our room?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I still have to redo, like I did. I still need furniture for my room. So I've been paying close attention and taking notes.
Everybody work with Lisa. She's your gal.
I definitely will take that. I'm still in the learning phase, but one thing I know is I absolutely love. Christa, I love that you are absolutely oozing the love for Arrow as well. I think Scott's behind the scenes with Bobbi tonight, unless he's already left. But one of the things I already loved Arrow, and Christa, I don't know if you know this, but when we were doing my onboarding Zoom call, Steve and I with Arrow, somebody said something about sewing some stockings.
Scott
You
did,
know what
yeah,
I'm talking
absolutely.
about, Bobbi?
So really quick, Arrow asked us all to sew our stockings for Christmas that hang outside of our offices. They put little stuff in it every Wednesday. It was great. But Scott, yeah, he kind of won the whole gamut. He really put a lot of time and effort into it.
It
So-
was fabulous because he ended up taking some time with Steve and I through email after the fact and saying that Arrow really encourages all the employees to sew so they understand the sewist and therefore they know how to create a great cabinet, just like Christa, you know, being a quilter, was
Absolutely.
able to create a great thing. So I think that speaks volumes for your company, Bobbi, for sure.
You know what? And kudos to Christa. Christa, the first time I met you, you sat there at your cabinet at a show. It was VDTA, I believe, a couple years ago. And
Here in Las
just
Vegas.
showed all of the dealers, what you have to offer. And we appreciate that you're such an Arrow fan. Thank you very much.
Well, like I said, I'll just, I love the industry. I love quilting. I love that it gets to be my job, but I love all the companies and the quilt shops that make the beautiful products that we can use to make these quilts to support our hobbies. Because even though it's my job, it's my hobby. People say, what do you do in your free time? I'm like, well, I quilt.
This.
Exactly, exactly. There was one last question for Mary Ellen again. She's asking, this is specific to SewEndipitious for their grand opening. In regards to Arrow Furniture on Saturday, she says, will you have inventory on Saturday for cash and carry? We do have some of the chairs that you absolutely can purchase and take with you. But all of the furniture, and this was a point that I wanted to say earlier and I got sidetracked, is shipped to your home. You don't have to worry about it being delivered to any of the dealers, not just to SewEndipitious, but wherever you live. Shout out to the Quilt Cave. I know you ladies are watching tonight. You're all over the US. But anyway, no matter where you're at, and Bobbi, feel free to chime. I think one of the great things is your furniture is not shipped to the dealer, and then you have to physically come and pick up your stuff and take it to your house. Putting, that extra whammy to your furniture. So it's
Yeah,
a
we
one
can
ship.
ship directly to the customer. Just know that, you got to put the chairs together. It takes 5 simple steps. Those chairs leave here within 48 hours after we receive the order from Lisa. Assembled cabinets take about 3 weeks to assemble, and then they're on the road. We do it as quickly as we can. However, we do take the care to make sure everything is right. They do go through a checks and balances and quality checks before they leave here. We want to get you guys the best cabinet, best chair possible.
Yeah, I think it just protects the integrity of everything to have it leave from your little Arrow home straight to their home versus being handled numerous times throughout. So I think that was a great thing. So Mary Ellen, like I said, we do have chairs that will be cash and carry. They're already put together. We didn't leave any in the box. So that will be first come, first serve because we don't have that many. Everybody came in and grabbed them up. So yeah, definitely if you like one of the fabrics, but like you said, I think, gosh, you sent me some, Bobbi, and I got them like within a day or, I mean, it seemed like
Yeah,
2 days.
it's pretty quick. So, Lisa, I'm sorry, where are you located again? What city?
Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're
Right.
just south of Charlotte, North Carolina.
I knew you were in South Carolina. I couldn't remember what city, but if we ship in 48 hours, you're a 3-day point for us. So, I think we had something going on. You had something going on Friday. We shipped on Monday. You had them in time. It really does. It ships quick.
It really does. Absolutely. Christa, one more time, tell everybody how they can find you and if they want to check you out and partake of some of your quilt wisdom over whatever.
Oh, sure. I have a blog and I've got free patterns that people can visit and I do tutorials. So my blog is christaquilts.com. They can go there. From there, they can springboard to my YouTube channel, my freebies, all my good stuff. And then if you're on Instagram, I'm very active, just at Christa Quilts on Instagram. So my blog, Instagram, those are kind of my favorite places to hang out.
I love your Instagram too.
Yeah, thanks.
Bobbi, once again, tell them Arrow's website if they want to go do a little bit of research. It's 8 o'clock at night on the Eastern Standard Time, so it's not like there's a dealer open, but if they want to do a little research tonight, where can they find all Arrow information?
Sure. Arrowsewing.com is our website, and you guys will be so surprised at how much is out there. You're going to see a picture of Christa out there. We have all our ambassadors out there. We have ideas on how to set up studios if you want more than one piece, a cabinet, a cutting table. There is just a lot of fantastic information out there for you, and contact information if you need to call me.
Absolutely. Before I turn it over to Rona for her to close us out, guys, like I said, it's Lisa Baker here with SewEndipitious. I do own the quilt shop here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And Saturday, I think is the 20th, we are having our anniversary sale for the shop. Anniversary celebration. And then of course we have our grand opening specials for our Arrow furniture. And we're so super excited to be part of the Arrow family. Bobbi, thank you for making it so amazing for us and easy and being patient with all the questions. Christa, your knowledge tonight is absolutely amazing. And Rona, what's going on in your world? And take us out for the night.
Well, actually, the biggest thing going on in my world right now is the show is finally launching. The new season, Stitching the Globe, and where I went and traveled all around the United Kingdom. That's launching on the YouTube channel next Tuesday. Episode 1 airs. So I'm really excited about that. And I think I'm actually going back to Scotland in March. So
Wow.
Stay tuned on Facebook and Instagram for that. And then, so all kinds of fun stuff happening in the traveling quilter world. But yeah, I'm really excited I actually learned quite a bit about the cabinets because I didn't really know that there was such a variety of like the different types of cabinets that you can use and stuff. Because like I said, right now I've got this like 10-foot table. That's one of those little, you can fold up and set on the wall type tables. But yeah, so this is really exciting. And if you guys can check out SewEndipitious on Saturday and let me know because I'll be there in spirit with you guys. So yeah, thank you, Bobbi, and thank you, Christa, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And obviously let us know in the chat what if there's questions that you have, anything that you want us to talk about, let us know and we will do our best to get your questions answered. So until next month, anything else you want to throw in, Lisa?
I'm just saying the third Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rona and I are here babbling with somebody.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for having me. This was super fun to chat with you guys and get to know you better.
Absolutely. And for those of you watching, thanks for staying a couple minutes late with us. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.